Okay, welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls. This is CoolKvothe, and we're going to play a little bit here on. Now, I did break this wagon and picked up the items below. I don't really remember what they were. They weren't of very much importance. So that's all you've really missed as we move into Things Betwixt. And I hope you guys are ready to see Dark Souls in its full glory. Now, I believe you can actually run through most of these areas and just leave. But there are some good items that we want to pick up here. And this is basically the tutorial area, so at least you'll get a chance to see what they expect you to understand. So this is basically the attack area. So you're confronted with the game's first enemies, and they don't do all that much but shamble towards you, which is probably why they expect you to just be able to very quickly fend them off. Now, you can target them like so. It's kind of like the traditional Z targeting circa the Zelda era. And each one of them, you'll notice, has, is going to give me some souls, which is very similar to the original Dark Souls. Souls is currency that you can use for both leveling yourself up and buying equipment, items, and things of that nature. Souls is the general currency of the game. And every item that you kill, as far as I know, will give you souls in some amount. Now these guys are giving us 30 souls apiece, so farming them is not going to be a very profitable enterprise. Quite frankly, they're giving me nothing. But what I can tell you is that later on in the game we're going to encounter enemies that are going to give us, thousands of souls at a pop, and that's going to add up a lot more quickly. So that's the first area. Pretty simple, just a bunch of enemies and them telling us to learn how to stab them. As a result of getting through the area, though, we are going to get a dagger, which I believe is better than the current broken sword that I have in my equipment right now. So we are going to equip the dagger. Actually, the broken straight sword is actually better, but this is faster. We're going to use the dagger anyway. We're never going to use a dagger after this, so might as well just show off the weapon that they tell us to use. Alright, now this is an archer. I think the whole point of that exercise was to learn how to block or dodge. As you can see, I can make very quick work of these guys with my dagger. And I believe there's not much else in this room to worry about. Alright, so this sign says backstep. So basically, if I hit B quickly, I will jump back real quickly and kind of stay out of danger. I think the whole point of this room was to learn how to backstep those arrows. I, of course, don't know how to do that because I am a scrub that uses a shield all game. But the shield is good to me, so I am good to the shield. And it does reward us with another life gem. So if I wanted to use one, I could. I'm going to avoid it because once I get through this, I believe I will be back in the main room where I can, if I want to, use the bonfire again. So it tells me how to move the camera. Obviously, I've been doing that the whole time, so it's kind of ineffective. We have the bird's nest here. Oh, and this is the, by the way, where you can give these smooth and silky stones, and I believe they fly you to the Bastille if you do it. But we're just going to kick the ladder down for now, and we're going to kind of avoid that. We only have that one stone, and if we could go to the Haunted Bastille, I think that would be a horrible idea, because we'd be horribly underleveled for it. So we're not going to go ahead and do that yet. Instead, we're going to run back and quickly heal up. Despite the fact that these areas are fairly simple, I want to make sure that we are at full health moving forward into them. So just very quickly, that will reset all the enemies in the area, but we're not going to go back into the area we were just in, so no worries there. Instead, we're going to head into this smoky area right here, which is the second tutorial area, and I believe just as simple as the first one. There's really only one that ever gave me trouble in here, and hopefully we won't have to worry about it too much. Basically, it's telling you that if you hold... that's interesting. So, basically, if I'm not going to do it right now. There's really no point in actually doing it. But if you hold the Y button, you'll be able to use this with two hands. And if you hold down the Y button, you can actually hold your shield in two hands, which is actually pretty cool. I think that makes more sense if you actually have like a sword or something like that in both hands, so that way you can choose which weapon that you want to use, but whichever works is fine. And of course I can jump across this area by using B to run and pressing down the joystick to actually do my leap. So we're going to get an amber herb. Now this jump back is going to be a little more difficult. I know I've missed it several times in the past, but that was before I really knew what I was doing. So let's hope that we can coordinate it correctly that time, and then we can climb up this ladder to continue throughout the level. Now I'm pretty sure I fell off like 3 times, which is not good, because if you do die, what ends up happening is your life bar will permanently go down until you use a human effigy. And if you haven't realized that, that can be kind of a pain. Because, you know, if you haven't played the game, you probably would know this, but trying to go through this game with like a quarter health missing or something like that all the time is difficult, because it's quite frankly difficult enough to go through this game at all. So what I'm going to try right now is a falling attack. And in the original Dark Souls, the falling attack was one of the better attacks in the entire game. There were several bosses, including the first boss, where you could take off significant chunks of health by simply doing this attack. And in this game, it is a lot different, and a lot of times it just does that where it doesn't work at all. Alright, so I'm just going to cheese one of them and kill the other. Which is fine, as long as I can kill them, I feel like I did okay. The jumping attack is, of course, at the bottom there, which does nothing for me. And there is a door down here, and I don't actually remember what's in here. We'll keep the shield up. An item, cracked red eye orb, which is actually, I believe, one of the items that you use to, you know, it's a disposable item where you can invade another person's world, which I will not be doing much of, at least in these videos. I don't intend to actually do any invading through my PvE run through the game. We might get invaded, I'm sure, because I'm not going to play this offline. I am going to play it in online mode and not pull any punches that way, but... Alright, so there's nothing that I can do up here. I can just kind of look ahead and see that there is a dastardly minion up there preparing to attack, and then, you know, that way I know when I come down here what I'm getting myself into, I guess. So I'm just going to roll off the side here. Now, I could just leave, I believe, which might be the smarter idea. This is the area where I've died, like, several times, but we're going to just be stupid here and just run right in. I believe there's one annoying enemy here, and what I need to do is, I believe, knock down the tree. Once knocked down, I run across, and then I kill this archer. Now, that is not the hard part of this area. The hard part is this area right here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack a life gem, and then when I jump down here, I'm going to need to roll away like right away, because I'm going to lose like half my health immediately. There's going to be an archer on a ledge, and I need to not get killed by this guy. It is kind of a pain in the ass, to say the least, and I've died numerous times attempting this. Like right there when I got staggered. So I try to put myself in a position where my life gem was still cranking away at my life as I was getting, taking the damage, and it did work out because I didn't take too much damage too quickly. We still have an archer right there, but that's fine. We're going to quickly shimmy up this ladder and take care of him. The archer was not the problem. It was the combination of the fall, the archer, and the swordsman that made it difficult. And I actually died several times trying to do it, which is, might be embarrassing for someone who hasn't played as much Dark Souls as I have, but believe you me, even in these beginning areas, it can be almost impossible to learn how to play Dark Souls without getting killed or, falling into certain traps. I mean, these areas are designed very specifically. So we're going to take care of him in short order. Now, I'm not going to go down there, but there is a hippo monster that's guarding like a little casket that's kind of sitting in the water. Around the corner, just to show you, there is another hippo. You would not know that he's there because he will not aggro until you actually run up and aggro the other one, in which case you'll be stuck between two hippo monsters. But the little casket there that you can see on the ground, that actually is it's available the entire game. You can always come back to this area, and if you do come back to this area and you jump in that casket, when you come back out, you will be the opposite gender. So it is actually the game's one way of actually kind of being a failsafe if you decide you don't like the fact that you decided to be a guy and you want to be a chick or vice versa, that is the one thing that you can do at any point in the game to change your gender at any time. And you can use it as many times as you want to, so, you know, it's kind of like the cheapest transgender surgery that anyone's ever had. It only takes a few seconds and a run past a giant dangerous hippo in order to do, which sure beats, you know, thousands of dollars. So that's it for the tutorial. This little area, I don't believe there's anything to see here. There's a lot of illusory wall ahead. I have not ever seen an illusory wall here, so I think they might be messing with me. If they're not, that's fine. There's really nothing that we really need to find an illusory wall for. These areas are pretty much, you know, just extraneous. We're going to walk right through here into a place called Majula. And that is the next area of the game. Praise the sun. So it's only been about 11 minutes, so I'm going to show you guys a little bit of Majula, and then we'll end the episode. Essentially, there's a couple ways that we can go for Majula, and unlike the original bonfire from, you know, the ruins there in the original Dark Souls, I feel like this is a little more difficult to navigate in the fact that there's a couple openings, and they don't really give a good, you know, explanation as to which way you should be going from here. The correct answer, I believe, is that way, to the Forest of the Lost Giants or something like that. But there's a couple different ways that it looks like would be better to go, and they really don't give you any explanation other than, you know, several different ways and, you know, options for you. So essentially, this is Majula. It's kind of a little rundown town. There is a fellow, I believe, in this cabin. He's the starting merchant. I'm going to kind of skip through his dialogue here and just kind of talk to him. Sometimes they do give you stuff if you do that. So apparently that's it. That's all he has to say. You can buy stuff here and also buy certain boss armors and things like that once you get through a certain portion of the game. Alright. And now I want to kind of examine this little monument up here. On the way there, we're going to see this guy sitting outside his little shop.
Who are you? Oh, it doesn't matter. Just help me. I packed my but now somebody's...
So apparently what he's saying is that this, this house here that has a window where you can just climb right in, this house got locked on him and he left all his blacksmithing tools inside, and he needs our help to find a key to open it. We don't have the key right now, but we will at the end of the next area, and from then on out he will be the guy to repair and fortify most of our weapons. So he is a pretty useful character. Seems monumentally stupid that he can't just walk in there himself and get his stuff, but that being said, you know, Dark Souls and like any video game is going to be full with little inconsistencies like that you know are never going to be resolved. Now up at the monument we're going to find this fellow here.
You're undead, aren't you?
And he's going to let us join a covenant, which is what we're going to do, and we're going to get a very cheap little ring that's going to allow us to... I believe it usually gives us a little bit of HP, but it also allows people to summon in and things like that if you're in trouble, I believe. I've never been in this covenant for more than the first area, so I don't actually know. But I see no reason not to join it. We just have to get through all of his dialogue, which I would sit here and listen to, but it seems like a waste of my time. It certainly is most likely a waste of yours. But in either case, if you want to listen to it, you know, buy the game. And I'm sure they'll, you know, I'm sure you could spend, you know, hours listening to all of these characters' dialogues. There's going to be a lot we're going to skip through just for the sake of expediency. And that's not to say that I want to, you know, I want to rush through the game per se, but what the way of the Blue Covenant leader is saying to me is not on my priority list of things that I actually care about. So he's going to give me the blue seal, and I enter the covenant.
That is a wise decision.
So just taking a real quick look here. In the inventory, or rather not the inventory, the equipment, looks like from what I can see here we have the blue ring, Covenant ring for Apostles of Blue. It says increases HP slightly, so it does have a slight benefit to the HP, kind of like the life ring. Not a developed religion, humble prayer that spreads naturally amongst those seeking help. When you're invaded, they can receive assistance from Masters of Otherworld. So it's kind of like the anti-invasion ring, I believe. Now, that's assuming that anybody actually is in the Blue Covenant so that they can be summoned in. I think in most cases they would not be. But this is the Majula bonfire. And so we are going to light it. And we are going to rest at it as well. Okay. And we're going to venture into the realm of the Forgotten Giants on the next episode. But as far as we're going right now, I think that's going to be it for the moment. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I think that we saw a little bit more of what Dark Souls 2 is like and what we're to expect in Dark Souls 2 moving forward through the game. And I'm just going to leave you with this nice view of the ocean as we sign off this time. And luckily this is one that was a little bit shorter than the last one. The last one we kind of got into the 20-minute mark just based on cutscenes alone. I'm not going to do that again if I can't help it. I'm just going to try to keep them around 20 minutes of actual action and not 20 minutes of cutscenes. But for now, we're just going to stop it here so we don't have to kind of run over everything. And I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Till next time, this is Kvothe. Have a nice day.